So we got ourselves a stick on the ice classic here, NHL Imperialism Playoff Edition. Now the rules for Playoff Edition are going to be a bit different here. The only teams competing to win Imperialism are going to be the 16 teams currently in the playoffs. However, that doesn't mean that the teams that miss the playoffs aren't going to be involved in the action. Now the best way for me to explain what's going on here is to show an example. So with our very first wheel spin, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be on the attack first. Now the Carolina Hurricanes are actually a terrible example because they're basically surrounded by teams that made the playoffs. But with our first wheel spin, it looks like we're going to be heading north. Now heading north isn't really going to do too much other than giving Carolina this territory right here. So a free space isn't good enough for me. I want to see a matchup with every single team. It looks like once again we're going to be heading north here. However, it wasn't directly north, it was a bit northwest, so that means we're just going to be picking up this free state right here. Now we're just going to keep on spinning this arrow until the Carolina Hurricanes get into a matchup. This time they're going to be heading southwest. And it looks like for the third spin in a row, Carolina's going to be claiming another free state. Alright Carolina, I need you to stop messing around here. I want to see a matchup. We're going to be heading north, and I know for a fact that's going to lead us into Washington Capitals territory. So it looks like we're finally going to have our first matchup here. It's going to be the Washington Capitals taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. And of course, with this being NHL Imperialism Playoff Edition, it's going to be a best of 7 series. So here we go, the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Washington Capitals, and of course, we got to go game by game here. Game number 1 is going to be an interesting one, but it looks like the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be coming out on top. Now, I'm not going to go period by period unless we get to an elimination game, then I'll actually start paying a bit more attention. But it looks like Carolina's going to be taking a 2-0 series lead here, as Svechnikov and Kotkaniemi are picking up goals in the third. So the Washington Capitals is going to stay alive in this series, or is Carolina going to be taking a 3-0 series lead? An overtime winner from Sebastian Aho is giving Carolina the 3-0 lead. So game number 4 is going to be the big elimination game, and it looks like the Washington Capitals are going to be staying alive. 3 goals in the second period, unless there's an absolute collapse here. That is tough. 3 straight goals from the Carolina Hurricanes, and they're eliminating the Washington Capitals in a sweep. That's a great way to start NHL Imperialism right there. On top of the Carolina Hurricanes being the Washington Capitals, they are going to be adding 1 player to their team, and I think this team could use a bit more scoring. Alexander Ovechkin, welcome to the Carolina Hurricanes. And of course, with that win from the Carolina Hurricanes, the Washington Capitals are officially eliminated here. So let's move on to playoff team number 2 here, and hopefully we can get a Western Conference team, keep it a bit even here. We're going to be getting the Dallas Stars next. I can tell you right now, this is going to be an incredible matchup. So let's go ahead and spin that arrow to figure out where the Dallas Stars are going to be going. They're going to be claiming a free state north of them. And while Dallas claims that free state right here, I'm still trying to hit 62,000 subs by the end of the month. And as we know, 80% of the people watching this video aren't even subscribed. That's absolutely absurd. So if you're a part of that 80%, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now that was just a free state for the Dallas Stars. I want to see this team get into a matchup, and it looks like they're going to be heading northwest. Now I feel like you could make the argument that northwest for the Dallas Stars would be the Colorado Avalanche, but I'm actually going to give them this free state right here. I feel like that's more northwest of the logo. But if you think they should take on the Colorado Avalanche, I wouldn't disagree with you in that sense either. It could really go either way. Now let's get right into spin number 3 here, and hopefully this one's going to lead us into a matchup. I guess it doesn't matter that we didn't take on the Colorado Avalanche in our last matchup. We're going to be taking them on here. So 2 of the best in the NHL are going to be meeting up. It's going to be the Dallas Stars taking on the Colorado Avalanche. So we arguably have the 2 best teams in the Western Conference matching up against each other, and it looks like game number 1 is going to be a tight one, but in the third period, Colorado is going to be taking over, and they're taking game 1 6-3. Now I fully expect this to be at least a 6-game series. If it goes to 7 games, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. Dallas is going to be shutting out Colorado in game 2. So somebody's going to be taking the lead in this series here in game number 3. Who's it going to be? It looks like it's going to be the Colorado Avalanche. They're responding with a shutout of their own. So the Avs have a chance of taking a commanding 3-1 series lead here. Are they going to be able to do that? It looks like it will be. Miles Wood's going to be picking up an insurance goal in the third period, and Colorado's taking this one 4-2, and they've got themselves a 3-1 series lead. But I definitely wouldn't count the Dallas Stars out, one of the best teams in the NHL, and we're going to see what they can do here. They're picking up 2 goals in the first period. They're picking up another one here in the second, and I think they're going to close this game out. It's going to be a 4-2 victory, and they're forcing game 6. Now I said at the very beginning, this was going to be at least a 6-game series, potentially a 7-game one as long as Dallas can continue to compete here. We got ourselves a tie game entering the third period, and it looks like it's going to stay a tied game. Dallas is picking up 2 more goals, but Colorado's making a big comeback. Are they going to be able to cap off that comeback? It doesn't look like it. Joe Pavelski's picking up the OT winner, and we're off to game 7. So we have our first game 7 of the video, and it's no surprise the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche. This of course is going to be a close series the entire way, and it's going to finish being a close one. The Dallas Stars have a 2-1 lead entering the third period, and it looks like they're going to be able to cap it off here. Logan Stankoven's picking up an insurance goal. Nathan McKinnon's going to try to spark a comeback, but the Colorado Avalanche are going to be blowing a 3-1 series lead here, and they're going to be eliminated. So that's incredibly unfortunate for the Colorado Avalanche. Not only are you going to be losing to the Dallas Stars, but you're also losing your best player because Nathan McKinnon, he's now going to be joining the Stars. So a chance at him winning a Stanley Cup is still possible here. But just because Nathan MacKinnon can win a Stanley Cup doesn't mean the Colorado Avalanche can, because as we know, they were just eliminated in that last matchup. So we've already had 2 teams eliminated, so we're down to the best 14, and it looks like the Boston Bruins are going to be on the attack next. Boston's surrounded by a bunch of great teams, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see where they're going here. It looks like they're going to be heading southwest. But southwest isn't really doing too much for Boston, as they're going to be claiming this free state right here. So here we go for spin number 2. More than likely this is going to lead into a matchup for the Boston Bruins. Never mind, they're heading north, and that's giving them another free state. I understand the map is really empty early on, but even still, we've had a lot of teams just claiming free states. Carolina got 3, Dallas got 3, Boston's got 2 already. The free states are being claimed up early, and honestly, that's better for the video because that makes the ending really interesting. It's going to be matchup after matchup. So here we go with arrow spin number 3. You got to give me something here. It looks like this team's going to be heading mainly west, a bit north though, but I believe that's going to lead into some New York Rangers territory. In normal circumstances, yes, they would have been taking on the New York Rangers. However, I do believe they're going to have to go through this free state first, so that means they're going to claim it. Alright Boston, enough messing around here. I want you to take somebody on. Enough claiming free states. You're heading southwest, that means you got the New York Islanders, not the Rangers. So Boston, this is going to be a tough matchup for you. You better be prepared. So let's head right into this match with the Boston Bruins taking on the New York Islanders. And the Islanders are making a statement in one, stealing this one away from the Boston Bruins. Now I think in this matchup, you do have to say that the Boston Bruins are the favorite, but I don't think that really means too much. The Islanders are a great team. They've been playing some great hockey lately, but that's not going to matter in game number 2 here as Boston's taking this one. I don't really care who wins this series as long as it's a competitive one. And the Islanders, they're doing some damage here. 5 straight goals is going to be giving them game 3. Now Boston, you better be prepared in game number 4 here. You're either going to be evening this series up or you're going to be falling to a 3-1 deficit. A late comeback from the Islanders isn't going to be enough here, and Boston's going to be taking this one. So Brad Marchand, you've been cooking in the postseason so far. I need you to continue to cook here if you want Boston to win. And I think that might have happened here once again. Brad Marchand's picking up another goal, and they now have themselves a 3-2 series lead. With the Islanders' backs against the wall here, are they going to be able to respond? They're going to be picking up the lone goal in the second period. So we've got ourselves a 1-goal game entering the third period, and the Islanders are going to be surviving with that one Romanoff goal. We're off to game 7 once again. Now, as we know, game 7s, when the great teams show up, are the big time players going to make some big time plays here. It looks like Boston's picking up the first 2 goals of the game, while Brock Nelson's going to be picking up one for the Islanders. In the second period, we're going to see the Boston Bruins and Islanders exchange goals here. So the third period is going to be deciding this one, and it looks like Boston's going to continue to put on the pressure here, and they're going to be taking this one to 4-2 game, and they're winning game 7. So with that win, the Boston Bruins have certainly made themselves a bit stronger. Sorokin, we're not going to be bringing you to the team. We already have 2 great goaltenders in Allmark and Swayman. Matt Barzal and Noah Dobson, though, that's where the decision's really made. I think we go with Matt Barzal here because I think Boston could really use a great centerman like him. Now that big win for the Boston Bruins is not only giving them Matt Barzal, but it's also going to be giving them that territory owned by the New York Islanders. Although it wasn't much, it still was a bit more for them. Now so far the attacking teams are 3-0 in their matchups, and this next team's looking to continue that trend. It's going to be the Florida Panthers. Now with the Florida Panthers, we actually don't need to spin a directional arrow because there's only one team that they can take on. That's the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we have ourselves an incredible battle. It's going to be the Battle of Florida with the Panthers taking on the Lightning. Game 1's going to be an entertaining one, but it looks like the Panthers are going to be taking that one 5-1. St. Louis legend Vladimir Tarasenko had a big game 1, and he's looking to continue that into game 2 here. I'm not too sure if he picked up any goals here. Hopefully he did. 2 big time goals from Vladimir Tarasenko is going to be giving the Panthers a 2-0 series lead. Now I'm fully expecting this to be a competitive series between these 2 teams, but the way Florida's looking right now, I'm not too sure if the Tampa Bay Lightning can compete, but 2 big time third period goals from the Lightning are going to help them win game number 3. So the Florida Panthers have a 2-1 series lead, and this is either going to give them a 3-1 series lead or Tampa's going to even the series, and it looks like this one's all evened up. Tampa's got a ton of momentum in the series right now, winning back-to-back games here. Florida's got to find an answer for them, and it looks like they can't do that. Anthony Duclair's picking up the OT winner. Tampa's won 3 straight games, and they're looking to make that 4 straight with this next win. Now of course we got ourselves an elimination game, so that means we're going period by period. The Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be exchanging goals here. Florida's exploding in the second period though. They're going to be picking up another 2, but in the third period Tampa's going to find a way to pick up 2 for themselves. We got a tie game entering overtime here, and it doesn't look like one OT is going to solve it. We need double overtime, and Tampa Bay is going to be winning 4 straight games here. Nick Paul's picking up the double overtime winner, and they're going to be eliminating the Florida Panthers. Now that was a big time defense from the Tampa Bay Lightning, taking down the Florida Panthers, and that means Matthew Tkachuk is now going to be on the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is a pretty deadly team. You got Matthew Tkachuk, you got Victor Hedman, you got Andrei Vasilevsky, you got Kucherov. They might be a bit top heavy, but you know what? The top guys can definitely perform. So with that great defense from the Tampa Bay Lightning taking down the Florida Panthers, we're down to our final 12 teams. Now I wouldn't mind seeing a playoff team take on a non-playoff team here. However, I don't think that's going to be happening in this matchup because more than likely Nashville is going to be taking on Carolina. Just based on where these two teams are located, I think it's very likely that Nashville is going to be taking on Carolina. However, they are going to be heading southwest with this first spin. Southwest isn't really doing too much for the Nashville Predators other than giving them this territory right here. So let's go ahead and spin this wheel again to see what we're going to be cooking up here. It looks like Nashville is now heading north. But similar to that last spin, north isn't going to be too much other than another free state. So what is arrow spin number 3 going to be cooking up for the Nashville Predators? They're heading northeast, and I think we already know what that means. It's not going to mean a free space for the Nashville Predators, but instead, they're going to have to take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, let's see what directional arrow spin number 3 is going to be cooking up for us. It looks like this team's heading directly south. And who would have saw this one coming? Another free state for the Nashville Predators. Okay, at this point, I don't care what happens. I just want to see a matchup here. This team's going to be heading directly north, but slightly west in the process. But I think that means they're taking on a non-playoff team. Never mind, I take it back. Another free state for the Nashville Predators. Alright, this is beyond ridiculous. I just want to see a matchup here. They're heading north. This is going to be a matchup. I can guarantee it. There is no way there's another free state above that last one. Now, I don't know how the Nashville Predators were able to do it, but by heading north, they're somehow going to avoid Chicago and they're going to avoid the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're actually going to be matching up against the Detroit Red Wings. Now, you might be thinking, well, Detroit's not a playoff team. Why is Nashville going to take them on? Well, they're going to take on the Red Wings in order to acquire some more players. So how is this going to work? We're going to simulate a 7-game series between the Nashville Predators and the Detroit Red Wings. It looks like Nashville's going to be taking game number 1. That's good for them. In the event the Nashville Predators are able to beat the Detroit Red Wings, they're going to be adding the best player from the Red Wings onto their team. Of course, after that loss for the Red Wings, they are going to be eliminated. However, what happens if Nashville loses to Detroit? Well, in that instance, Nashville is not going to be eliminated from NHL playoff imperialism. However, they will be losing their best player to the Detroit Red Wings. Once that player is lost, they're going to be up for grabs for any team that can beat the Detroit Red Wings. So for example, let's just say Nashville loses and Roman Josi goes and joins the Detroit Red Wings. If Toronto matches up against the Red Wings and beats them, then that means they're going to be adding Roman Josi as well as Detroit's best player. However, it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. Nashville's winning this game 4-2 and they're taking the series 4-2. So Nashville, congratulations on beating the Detroit Red Wings, and that means you're going to be adding a player to your team, and that player is going to be Dylan Larkin. I guess I could have gone with Patrick Kane, but at the end of the day, it's the same difference. At 89 is an 89, and they're both playmakers. Since Detroit didn't make the postseason, we're not going to see any playoff teams eliminated here, so we're still down to a best of 12. So Nashville made things a bit interesting by getting some non-playoff teams in the mix here, but with our next wheel spin, it's going to be one playoff team taking on another because Tampa, they're forced to take somebody on here. So who's it going to be for the Tampa Bay Lightning? Is it going to be the Nashville Predators or Carolina Hurricanes? We're going northwest, so that means it's Nashville. Or is it Nashville? Because if you head northwest from the logo, that means they're going to be running into this free state right here. So I guess Tampa's not going to be taking on Nashville quite yet. However, it is going to be very difficult for Tampa to avoid Nashville, so it's only a matter of time before these two teams match up. With an arrow like this, we're just going to call it northwest. Because let's be fair, unless Tampa is heading directly north, they're not taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Basically, anything in this direction is going to be the Nashville Predators. Because Tampa's just not swimming across the ocean in order to take on the Dallas Stars. We got Tampa versus Nashville. So Tampa was able to take down the Florida Panthers, and Nashville was able to beat Detroit. But when these two teams match up, we're going to see who's really the best. And it looks like Nashville's making a statement here in game 1. They're taking it 4-1. I guess we're going to see who really makes the biggest difference. Dylan Larkin on the Nashville Predators or Matthew Tkachuk on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Personally, it's kind of hard for me to bet against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They might be down 2-0 in the series once again, but we saw they were able to bounce back last time. But right now, stick on the ice legend Thomas Novak is absolutely dominating here. Nashville's going to be taking this one 2-1, and they now have a 3-0 series lead. So Tampa better stop messing around here, because right now Nashville's got all the momentum. We're entering the third period, but Tampa, they got themselves a 3-1 lead. They're going to close this one out, and their hopes are still alive. But they still got themselves a big mountain to climb. They're still down 3-1 in the series. This one's going to be a close one up until the second period. That's when Nashville's taking over, and they're going to close this one out. A big 6-1 victory, and it looks like the Tampa Bay Lightning are falling early. Also, shout out to this legend right here, Luke Evangelista, 8 points in 5 games. He was the true difference maker. Now, when it comes to adding players, this is the rule. Matthew Tkachuk, you're not originally from the Tampa Bay Lightning. You're from the Florida Panthers, so we're not allowed to add you. We can only add players that are originally on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that includes Nikita Kucherov, and he's going to be the guy joining this team. 96 overall. That's definitely going to be a big help for us. And with that win over the Tampa Bay Lightning, Nashville's going to be taking their territory, and now they own the most in the entire game. So not too many more playoff teams need to make their first move, but it looks like the Winnipeg Jets are finally going to be making their first move. And the Winnipeg Jets are a really interesting team because there's not too many playoff teams around them. The first direction they're going to be heading is going to be southwest. Moving southwest is going to do too much for the Winnipeg Jets here other than to give them this free state. So let's go ahead and spin the arrow once again here, and it looks like this team's going to be heading northwest. The simplest thing to do in a situation like this is just give them Saskatchewan. If they head west in the slightest, they're going to be claiming it, so we might as well just give it to them early. So here we go with arrow spin number 4 here. Where are we going to be cooking up here? We're going to be heading southwest once again. And similar to the last couple times, it's just going to allow Winnipeg to claim another free state. So let's spin the arrow once again. We got to get into a matchup eventually. It looks like we're finally getting into one. Now, based on that directional arrow, there's 2 places we can go. We can either take on the Ottawa Senators here, or we could take on the Minnesota Wild. I think we're going to go against the Minnesota Wild here because that's more of a southeast matchup than it would be against the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators to me is more east. Now, this is a big time matchup for the Winnipeg Jets because if they lose this one, that means they're going to be losing Connor Hellebuyck, and I don't think they can win a Stanley Cup without that man. Kyle Connor's going to be picking up an OT winner, so Winnipeg's taking game 1. So Winnipeg's got to take every single game incredibly seriously here, and it doesn't look like that's going to be happening in game number 2 here. They're going to be down 3-0 to begin this game. They're going to fight their way back in the 3rd period. However, they're still going to be dropping it in overtime. Game 3 is going to be going back and forth the entire way, but Ehlers is going to be picking up a big overtime goal, and Winnipeg's taking the lead in the series. So game 4 is obviously going to be a big one. Someone's going to be taking the lead in this series, or it's going to be evened up. Kaprizov's picking up the OT winner, and this series is all tied up. I don't know why in game number 4 I said somebody would be taking the lead in this series. Winnipeg already had the lead, and they have it once again here with the Mark Scheifele overtime winner. So I already know how it works in elimination games. We go period by period. Minnesota's picking up the first 3 goals, but then Winnipeg's going to respond picking up the next 3. Who's going to be showing up in the 3rd period? Well, both teams did. Minnesota's taking this one 8-6. Yeah, absolutely no defense was played in this game. So it all comes down to this. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Is Minnesota going to be losing one of their best players, or is Winnipeg going to be losing their best player? Minnesota currently has a 4-2 lead in this game. Winnipeg's going to be dropping this one. They're toast now. Connor Hellebuyck's going to be moving on over to the Minnesota Wild. That's a big loss for Winnipeg. So although the Winnipeg Jets aren't going to be eliminated here, they are losing their most important piece in Connor Hellebuyck. He's off to the Minnesota Wild. So the next team that beats Minnesota, not only are they going to be picking up Connor Hellebuyck, but they're also going to be picking up Kirill Kaprizov. So the hunt for Minnesota players has officially begun. So that was a big time loss for the Winnipeg Jets because they put themselves in a really tough position. They've claimed a lot of land around Edmonton and Vancouver, so that's more than likely who they're going to be matching up against next. But if they're going into those matchups without Connor Hellebuyck, I don't think they stand a chance. So let's figure out if Edmonton or Vancouver is going to be selected from this next wheel spin. It looks like it's going to be the Vancouver Canucks. Now let's figure out who Vancouver's taking on. It's probably not going to be the Winnipeg Jets, or maybe it will be. This is exactly in line with Winnipeg's territory. Like if we're talking southeast from the Vancouver Canucks logo, you might make the argument that they're slightly in Calgary territory, but I think that's more Winnipeg territory than Calgary. So Winnipeg, good luck with taking on Vancouver. You're going to need it. So we got ourselves an all-Canadian matchup, and this is going to be a big one. Let's be completely honest though, Vancouver's probably going to smoke them. No way Vancouver lost game 1 2-0. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't even know who the backup for the Winnipeg Jets is, and that man almost picked up 2 shutouts in a row. I did not realize that the Winnipeg Jets backup was Bourgeois, but you know what? They've got themselves a 2-0 series lead. Vancouver better get a comeback going. Alright, Vancouver, you better start taking this a bit more seriously. Ain't no way you guys are about to get swept to the Winnipeg Jets. They don't have Connor Hellebuyck anymore, and you're still about to lose. So here we go, an elimination game. We got to go period by period here. Vancouver, are you going to be waking up? A lot of goals are scored in the first period here. Winnipeg's picking up another 3. Ain't no way you guys just lost in a sweep. That is so disappointing. So I think it goes without saying who we're going to be adding to this team. It's not going to be 95 overall Quinn Hughes. It's not going to be 93 overall Elias Pettersson. It's going to be 91 overall Thatcher Demko. But then again, Thatcher Demko just got swept by the Winnipeg Jets. So I think we go with Quinn Hughes here. Thatcher Demko makes way more sense. But Quinn Hughes, welcome to the team. You're now the highest overall on the Winnipeg Jets. Let me just double check with Bourgeois. Like, what's his overall here? It's an 82. I feel like we have to go with Thatcher Demko. Like, if we're being completely honest here, I took a 93 overall goaltender off the Winnipeg Jets. We got to replace him with a 91. So 91 overall Thatcher Demko. Welcome to the Winnipeg Jets. This just makes the most sense for the team. No, but real talk, the Vancouver Canucks should be absolutely ashamed of themselves, losing to the Winnipeg Jets in a sweep without Connor Hellebuyck. How does that even happen? So just like that, another team's been eliminated, but ain't no way the Vancouver Canucks went out that sad. Like losing to the Winnipeg Jets without Connor Hellebuyck, that's literally the worst thing that possibly could have happened to you. But we got to stop dwelling on that. Toronto's on the attack next, and it looks like this team's going to be heading slightly southwest. And southwest is going to be a free state for the Toronto Maple Leafs, or taking on a non-playoff team. They're going to be heading right into Nashville Predators territory, so that's who they're taking on. Now, normally the Toronto Maple Leafs would be favored in a matchup over the Nashville Predators, but the one thing we do have to remember, this is now the playoffs, so the Toronto Maple Leafs should never be favored. And saying that, they also did dominate Nashville in game number 1, so Nashville better be able to respond, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening. Nyquist is picking up an OT winner. Austin Matthews also had a hat trick and they still couldn't win. Ain't no way. Somehow when push comes to shove, the Maple Leafs always find a way to disappoint themselves. They're going to be losing in game 3 as well. Austin Matthews picked up another goal. You can't make stuff like this up. So is Nashville going to be taking a 3-0 series lead, or is Toronto going to be responding here? No, this is actually just funny. So here we go. The Toronto Maple Leafs are facing elimination against the Nashville Predators. They're both picking up goals in the first period. Matthews is going to be picking up one in the second, but I don't think that matters. Okay, maybe it does. Toronto's going to be staying alive in this game. They're taking it 5-2. So are the Nashville Predators going to blow a 3-1 series lead here? Are they going to find a way to close out in game number 6 here? William Nylander's picking up a goal in the second period. It all comes down to the third. Is Toronto going to be staying alive? Yes, they are. A late push from Nashville is not going to be enough. We're off to game 7. So here we go. Game 7. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Nashville Predators. We should have seen this one coming. They're making a late push here. Labushkin and David Camp are picking up the goals in the second period. Those are 2 players for sure. And to close out this game, yeah, Nashville's going to be taking it. Toronto is falling in the postseason once again, and it's in the first round. Who would have seen that one coming? By the way, I don't think I showed it. William Nylander had 15 points in 7 games. Still couldn't get out of the first round. Now, the Nashville Predators have certainly made this interesting. Austin Matthews is going to be joining their team, so now they have Kucherov, they got Matthews, and they got Dylan Larkin. So those are 3 major upgrades to the team. I think you have to consider them the favorite right now. No, but in all seriousness, how does it seem like every single time the Toronto Maple Leafs have to show up, they find a way to lose? I don't care if it's the first round, I don't care if it's the second. I mean, most of the time they don't even get to the second round, but even when they do get to the second round, they find a way to lose. It's honestly impressive at this point. So we have 3 Western Conference teams left and 1 Eastern Conference. Of course, we're probably going to land on a Western Conference team, and it's going to be the Vegas Golden Knights. And Vegas is honestly a really interesting team considering how many non-playoff teams are around them. Like, this direction right here is going to dictate quite a bit. It looks like they're going to be heading mainly west, but a bit north in the process. Now, by rights, this should be a guaranteed win for the Vegas Golden Knights. A 7-game series against the San Jose Sharks. They should have this in the bag. So Vegas, you really don't have anything to gain in a matchup like this, but you have everything to lose. The last thing you want to do is lose to the San Jose Sharks and then lose your best player. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty easy game 1 for them. They're winning this one 4-1. So we're moving on to game 2, and I'm expecting a similar result here. It's a 5-2 victory for Vegas. When we get to game 4 of this series, I'm probably not even going to go period by period. We're just going to get this sweep over with real quick. San Jose is not even going to make this an entertaining series, but I guess we will go period by period here. Vegas is going to be taking it home, but they got to go to overtime first. Double OT to be exact. Never mind, Vlasic's going to be picking up the OT winner. We're going to need game 5. You know what? I want to cheer for the San Jose Sharks here. I want them to make a 3-0 series comeback. Yeah, it's not happening. They're out in 5 games. Maybe I should have just kept cheering for Vegas. No, honestly, this was just a really pointless matchup. Vegas, you're going to bring Logan Couture to the team. He's an 85 overall. But yeah, you had absolutely everything to lose in a matchup like this and nothing really to gain. Because Logan Couture is going to be like a third-line guy for you. You were risking losing guys like Mark Stone and Jack Eichel in order to get Logan Couture. Definitely not worth it. But you know what? A win is a win is a win is a win. So you're not going to be eliminated here. You're moving on to the second round. Unless you end up matching up against the LA Kings, because that is possible. We're down to our final 3 teams in the first round here. And it looks like we're going to get another Western Conference team. That's going to be the LA Kings. So is LA going to be taking on Anaheim, or are they going to have to take on the Vegas Golden Knights? Anything somewhat north is going to have them taking on Vegas, and if they're going directly south, they got Anaheim, but nope, it's going to be LA versus Vegas. So we got 2 great teams matching up against each other. The Vegas Golden Knights just got a slight upgrade and picking up Logan Couture. This is going to be a great matchup to watch. So one of these teams is not going to be advancing to the second round here. We got a matchup between the LA Kings and Vegas Golden Knights, and it looks like LA is making a statement in game 1. They're taking this one 6-3. But I just feel like you can never count the Vegas Golden Knights. This team's going to show up when it matters most, and that's exactly what's happening in game 2. They're picking up 5 goals. So with Vegas responding in game 2, are they going to have the momentum in this series? It looks like they did up until overtime, and Matt Waugh is going to be picking up the OT winner. So the Kings better come ready to play here. They want to take a commanding 3-1 series lead, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening. A lone goal from Drew Doughty in the second period is going to give them a 3-1 series lead. But if anyone's going to make a 3-1 series comeback, that's going to be the Vegas Golden Knights with the amount of talent they have on this team. We're tied in the second period, so the third third period is going to decide this one. 3 more goals from the LA Kings are not only giving them the game here, but it's also giving them the series. So Vegas, that was a tough loss for you guys. After taking down the San Jose Sharks, you weren't ready for the LA Kings. And LA, congratulations on the win. And Jack Eichel, looks like you're changing teams once again. You're off to the LA Kings. Like, I really went out of my way to gas up the Vegas Golden Knights after being the San Jose Sharks of all teams, only for this team to immediately fall to the LA Kings 1 round later. Not even 1 round later, 1 matchup later. Like, this was the matchup directly after that San Jose one. That's a tough look for Vegas fans. But shout out to the LA Kings because they're guaranteed round number 2 here because they have no other playoff teams around them. Now we're down to our final 2 teams in round number 1 here, and it looks like the Edmonton Oilers are going to be on the attack first. They're either going to be taking on the Calgary Flames or Winnipeg Jets. Those are the only 2 options. So that means this is going to be a big time arrow spin. More than likely they're going to be taking on the Winnipeg Jets, and it looks like that's what's happening. I mean, to be fair, any direction that wasn't directly south was going to have the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Winnipeg Jets, and northwest is going into a bit of Jets territory, so that's what our matchup's going to be, Edmonton versus Winnipeg. So here we go, the matchup between the Edmonton Oilers and Winnipeg Jets is beginning here, and it looks like Winnipeg's going to be taking a big game 1. They're scoring 4 goals here. Now, if the Winnipeg Jets go on some crazy run and win NHL Imperialism without Connor Hellebuyck, that's going to be wild. But they now have a 2-0 series lead against the Edmonton Oilers, so I guess anything's possible. So Edmonton better be ready to play in game number 3. This is a big one in the series. It doesn't look like that's going to be happening. Connor McDavid's picking up a late goal, but Winnipeg now has a 3-0 series lead. So it all comes down to this. Are the Oilers going to find a way to respond here? They did pick up the first 3 goals of the game, but then they're going to be allowing 3 straight here. The third period's deciding this one. That is a tough loss. Not only is Edmonton getting swept, but they're allowing 6 of the final 7 goals scored. They had a 3-0 lead in the first period, and then they choked that away. That's a tough way to go out. So not only are the Winnipeg Jets going to be staying alive, but they're adding the best player in the league to their team. Connor McDavid, welcome to Winnipeg. That is a statement right there. Nah, but when push came to shove, the Edmonton Oilers just couldn't compete with the Winnipeg Jets. They were better throughout the entire lineup, and the Edmonton Oilers aren't going to be winning NHL Imperialism here because they're not even getting out of the first round. So the only team left is the New York Rangers here, so we might as well just go ahead and spin the arrow. It looks like this team's going to be heading southwest. And southwest for the Rangers is going to lead them into non-playoff territory. They're going to be taking on the Buffalo Sabres here, but if they do lose this game, I believe they're going to be losing Panarin. So they're definitely putting a lot on the line in this matchup. So this is a big time matchup for the New York Rangers. They have the potential to add Tage Thompson to their team, but they also have the potential to lose Panarin, and that's definitely not what they want. I believe Tage Thompson's the highest overall in the Buffalo Sabres. It's either him or Rasmus Dahlin. I'm not really too sure. But then again, a pickup like Rasmus Dahlin might be what the New York Rangers are looking for. Like, the New York Rangers have a great team here, but if you're to pair Rasmus Dahlin up with Adam Fox, that's destined for success. But that's only going to happen if the New York Rangers don't choke this series away. They're going to be losing game 3 and they're losing game 4 here, so the series is all evened up. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. I guess Buffalo has a 3-1 series lead. I was fully under the impression that the Rangers were up in this series. Well, not up, they were tied in this series, and now they're eliminated. Well, they're not eliminated, they just lost Panarin though. Yeah, I was fully convinced going into game 5 that the series was tied up. Nope, Buffalo's taking that one 4-1. And Panarin, now that you're on the Buffalo Sabres, whichever team beats them is not only picking up you, but they're also going to be picking up Rasmus Dahlin or Tage Thompson, depending on who I want to go with. But Rasmus Dahlin is 3 overalls higher, so that's who it would have been. So yeah, Boston, if you want to make some big moves here and pick up these 2 guys, might not be the worst decision in the world. So here's what the map's looking like after round number 1. We're officially down to our final 7 teams: the Winnipeg Jets, LA Kings, Dallas Stars, Nashville Predators, Carolina Hurricanes, New York Rangers, and Boston Bruins. Now that we know who's left here, it's time for round 2 to begin. So we already know how round 2 is going to start. We got to spin this wheel right here, and it looks like the Dallas Stars are going to be attacking first for round number 2. The real question for the Dallas Stars is which direction are they going to be heading here? It looks like they're going to be heading east. Not only were the Dallas Stars heading east, but they were also heading a little north as well, so this is the free state we're going to be giving them. So that's another free state for the Dallas Stars, but free states don't give you too much around here. Now it's time for Dallas to head northwest. By heading northwest, once again, the Dallas Stars are going to be claiming a free state, and it's going to be this one right here below Winnipeg. Well, Winnipeg territory, I should say. Alright, it's been way too many spins without a matchup. Let's see what Dallas is looking to get into here. They're going to be heading east. That is another free state for them. So here you go, Dallas, another free state. So I believe this is spin number 4 for the Dallas Stars. We got ourselves a matchup, Dallas versus Winnipeg. And just to prove that's going to be the matchup, here's Dallas's logo. We're going northwest. That's giving us Winnipeg territory. So normally I would have Dallas as the favorite in this matchup, but you know who Winnipeg has now? Connor McDavid. And that means quite a bit. But it doesn't look like Connor McDavid is doing anything in game number 1. Tyler Toffoli scoring the lone goal, and it's going to be a 1-0 win for Winnipeg. And it looks like Winnipeg's going to continue to build on that momentum, and they now have themselves a 2-0 series lead. But we already know Dallas can fight back. I'm not going to lie, Dallas, this would be a very bad look for you guys if you got swept right here. Okay, they're making a big comeback, 2 goals in the third period, and they're making this an interesting series. Now, game 4 is a big game, so we're going to go period by period here. Either Winnipeg's taking a 3-1 series lead, or Dallas is tying this one up. Winnipeg has a 5-3 lead entering the third period, and it looks like they're going to hold on to that lead. So Winnipeg's put Dallas on the brink of elimination. Shout out to Kyle Connor, he's picking up the trick. So Winnipeg's looking to move on here, and they got a 4-1 lead. This is basically locked down for them. A 5-2 victory is going to be taking out the Dallas Stars in a 5-game series. And in case you were wondering what Connor McDavid did, just 9 points in 5 games. He was alright. So as we know, we have to select players from the original team, so that means Nathan McKinnon can't be selected here, but we can take Jason Robinson and pair him up alongside Connor McDavid. So yeah, this team's destined for success. So that's a huge win for the Winnipeg Jets. Not only are they going to be taking all of Dallas territory, but just look at everything they own here. They got another great player. They own most of the land in the game right now. Winnipeg's making big moves. Who would have thought? Winnipeg continues to make big moves here, so some of these other teams have to respond. The Rangers have already lost Artemi Panarin, so they're not looking nearly as hot as the Jets are. So where are the Rangers crafting up here? They're going to get their revenge on the Buffalo Sabres. It doesn't look like it. I think they have to take on Nashville. The New York Rangers have to go take on the improved Nashville Predators without Artemi Panarin. Yeah, this is certainly going to be a difficult task for them. So I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think the New York Rangers can beat the improved Nashville Predators without Artemi Panarin. That's a big loss to their team. And saying that, they're going to be taking game 1. I guess the one thing that is going against Nashville is they have Austin Matthews on their team. And I think that man just might be bad luck. So I guess we're about to find out if that theory is true. Is Austin Matthews bad luck? Well, they're dominating game 2 here, so I guess it's not true yet. Now, there's been a lot of big scoring games so far, so the defense better show up pretty quick here. It's not showing up in game 3 as the New York Rangers are picking up 6 unanswered. So Nashville, you better even the series up here. You can't be giving the Rangers a 3-1 series lead. Luke Evangelista is going to be picking up a late goal here. 2 in the third period and 1 in the second is going to be given Nashville this game. So the defense finally showed up in game number 5, but Blake Wheeler is going to find the back of the net in overtime, and the Rangers now got themselves a 3-2 series lead. So the Rangers actually going to be able to close this one out without Artemi Panarin. It looks like they will. They have themselves a 4-1 lead entering the third period, and they got this in the bag with a 5-1 win. So Nashville, unfortunately, you're going to be eliminated here, and the Rangers are going to be adding somebody to replace Artemi Panarin. Now, this isn't really a replacement for Artemi Panarin, but it is the new best player for the Rangers. They're going to be picking up 94 overall Roman Josi. So Austin Matthews just might be bad luck. I think there's nothing else you can really say about it. Nashville definitely was favored in that series with everyone they've added to the team, but the Rangers without Panarin are going to find an answer. So with Nashville eliminated, we're down to our final 4 teams of round number 2, and it looks like the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be on the attack next. There's a handful of states around them owned by playoff teams, so I think our next matchup's actually going to mean something. Unless the Carolina Hurricanes can do the absolute impossible here and somehow avoid the New York Rangers, but that's not happening. And with Carolina heading southwest, we already know that's New York Rangers territory, so we got the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Rangers, 2 of the best in the NHL. So we got 2 of the best matching up. The Rangers might be a bit tired here, but it doesn't look like it. It just looks like they have a bunch of momentum. They're taking game number 1. And who is a big time performer in that game number 1? Roman Josi, 2 goals, 1 assist. He might be carrying the way for the Rangers. Well, not in game 2 certainly, because the Carolina Hurricanes are scoring 3 unanswered. So we're entering game 3 with the series tied, and it looks like Rangers are going to be taking back that lead. They're winning this one 4-1. The one thing I gotta say though, Roman Josi, you've been absolutely incredible so far. A 2-1 win for the Rangers is going to give them a 3-1 series lead. But yeah, shout out to Roman Josi. He's been amazing so far. He might be leading the team in scoring, either him or Zibanejad. Zibanejad has 6 points right now, but I know Roman Josi has at least 5. So let's go ahead, simulate game number 5 here, and of course we got to go period by period, and you can never count out the Carolina Hurricanes. This one's coming right down to the wire, and in the third period, that's not going to decide it. Overtime is going to decide this one, and out of all players, Capo Cac was going to pick up the OT winner, and the Rangers are surviving another day while Carolina falls. So Roman Josi wasn't really a true replacement for Artemi Panarin because you added a defenseman to replace a forward, but this time they are going to be getting a forward to replace a forward. Sebastian Aho, welcome to the New York Rangers. And with that win, the Rangers are going to be claiming a lot more land here, and things are looking really good for them. However, they still don't own the most in the entire game because Winnipeg's just on a different level. But we do have to remember Winnipeg hasn't attacked in the second round here, so they could still mess it up from themselves, or the Boston Bruins can play upset here and take somebody out. Now, they won't take out the Winnipeg Jets because that matchup's not even possible, but they could take out the New York Rangers. And that's where our next matchup's going to be, the Boston Bruins taking on the New York Rangers. It's time to see if New York can win their third 7-game series in a row. So the Boston Bruins might have their hands full in game number 1, but they're certainly making a statement here. 8 goals in game number 1. And in game number 2, things aren't getting any better for the New York Rangers. Another 8-goal game. Nah, Boston's just on a different level right now. The Rangers might not be prepared. So the Rangers better find a way to stop the puck here in game number 3. That's not happening. The only guy stopping the puck here is going to be Jeremy Swayman or Allmark. I don't actually know who's in between the pipes. All I know is they're completing a shutout and the Boston Bruins have a 3-0 series lead. So it all comes down to game 4. Are the Rangers going to be staying alive here? My bet would be no. You know what? It looks like they've finally shown up in this game and they're going to be stealing game 4 away. Shout out to Vincent Trocheck. He's going to be picking up the hat trick here. But I honestly don't think that Vinny Trocheck's hat trick is going to be enough, and Boston's going to respond here in game number 5. They have a 2-1 lead and they're going to be taking this one 3-2. So just like that, the Rangers, after winning 2 straight matchups, they're going to be eliminated. Now Boston, unfortunately, you're not getting the best player here, which is Roman Josi, because he's originally from the Nashville Predators, so you're going to have to settle for Adam Fox. Honestly, I don't even know if you're going to be able to survive that. Like, going from Roman Josi to Adam Fox, you guys are just in the trenches. Like, that 1 overall drop, I don't know how you're going to survive. So we really don't have that many teams left here. We have the LA Kings and Winnipeg Jets that still need to attack in the second round. Winnipeg's going to be attacking first. I think there is a possibility they do take on the LA Kings, though. I mean, to be completely honest, it's going to be very difficult for Winnipeg to take on the LA Kings here. But if they get spins like this, it might be possible. Because the only thing that spin for the Winnipeg Jets is doing is giving them this free space right here. Moving on over to our next arrow spin, it looks like Winnipeg's heading in a similar direction, southwest once again. Now southwest is getting Winnipeg very close to the LA Kings. They're going to be claiming this territory right here, so if they get southwest again, they might be taking on the Kings, but more than likely it would be the Arizona Coyotes. So here we go for arrow spin number 3. What's going to be happening here? It looks like the Winnipeg Jets are going to be taking their talents east, but slightly south. But the slightly south doesn't really mean too much going by the logo. The Winnipeg Jets are taking on the Ottawa Senators. Now this is a big series for the Winnipeg Jets here, because if they lose this one, they're going to be losing a key part of their team, and things aren't looking good right off the bat as Ottawa's taking game 1. So Winnipeg better make a statement here in game 2, and that's exactly what they're doing. Kyle Connor's going to be picking up a goal. Connor McDavid's picking up 2 for himself, and they've evened this series up. So let's go ahead and simulate game 3 here and figure out who's going to be taking the lead in the series. It looks like Winnipeg's going to be taking it back with 4 goals. Now the last thing Winnipeg wants to do is lose this series and end up losing Connor McDavid, but you know what? They don't have to worry about that in game number 4. They're picking up 7 goals, and they've evened this series up once again. So Winnipeg, eventually you got to take the lead in the series here, and you should do that in game number 5. This team always puts themselves behind, but you know what? They always find a way to bounce back. But now they have a short runway being in game 6, so they have to be perfect from here on out, and it doesn't look like that's going to be happening here unless the Winnipeg Jets can make a comeback. Connor McDavid's going to be leading the team. Okay, so at this point, stick on the ice is just a full-blown yapper. So we weren't allowed to select Nathan McKinnon from the Dallas Stars when we beat them because he's not originally from the Dallas Stars, he's originally from Colorado. With that being said, I don't think it really makes too much sense to send Connor McDavid over to the Ottawa Senators because he's not originally from the Winnipeg Jets. I feel like we should send somebody that's originally from this team. So with that being said, Kyle Connor, you're actually going to be the guy shipped over to Ottawa. Because the Winnipeg Jets, they earned these 3 guys right here. Thatcher Demko, Jason Robertson, Connor McDavid. It doesn't really seem fair for them to have to give up one of them. However, giving up Kyle Connor, who's been on their team since the very beginning, that makes a bit more sense. I already know for a fact there's going to be a bunch of comments saying, oh, you should have gave Connor McDavid to the Ottawa Senators. No. Stick on the ice executive decision. So the only thing happening with the Winnipeg Jets with that match against the Ottawa Senators is they're getting worse. So yeah, they put themselves in a pretty tough position, especially since the LA Kings are on the attack next, and there's a very good chance they take on the Winnipeg Jets, and I think that's what's happening here. And that's exactly what's happening because the LA Kings are going to be entering some Winnipeg Jets territory. It's going to be the LA Kings versus the Winnipeg Jets, and the winner of this matchup's taking on the Boston Bruins because we're down to our final 3. So here we go. You could say this is the conference finals for the Western Conference. The LA Kings taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Game 1's going to be a big one. Somebody's going to make a statement in this game, and it looks like it's going to be the Winnipeg Jets as they're going to be taking it 3-2. That really wasn't much of a statement though. With 3-2 victory is nothing to be happy about. It's going to be a close one all the way down to the wire, but maybe not because Winnipeg's going to be taking this one 7-1. You lost Kyle Connor, and for some reason now you're picking up goals. You know what's going to make this worse is Connor McDavid's going to lead the Winnipeg Jets, and then there's going to be a million comments saying, oh, Connor McDavid should have went to the Ottawa Senators. Nah. Stick on the ice makes the decisions around here. LA is looking to continue to compete in game number 4, but that's not happening because Winnipeg's picking up 6 goals and they're 1 game away from the Stanley Cup final. Now, I would have thought that the LA Kings would be able to compete here, but nope, another shutout. This team's going to be eliminated here. Winnipeg's going to be adding the best player from the LA Kings, and we have our matchup set. The Boston Bruins taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Now, this is the last move before we get into our final matchup. Kopitar's going to be joining the Winnipeg Jets, and we have our matchup set. The Jets are taking on the Boston Bruins. So it all comes down to this. The Winnipeg Jets taking on the Boston Bruins, 2 of the best in the NHL. This is guaranteed to be at minimum 6 games. If it's less than 6 games, then somebody completely choked. So we're down to our final 2 teams in NHL Imperialism. Who's going to be coming out on top here? We got the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Boston Bruins. Someone's going to make a statement in game 1, and I think that's what Winnipeg's doing, mounting this big comeback, 3 unanswered, and they're taking game 1. So after that embarrassing loss in game number 2, the Boston Bruins are looking to bounce back here, and it looks like that's what they're going to be doing with the JVR overtime winner. So as I said, this is going to be a competitive series. More than likely, it's going to 6 games here. 3 in answer from the Winnipeg Jets are giving them game 3. But you know what? Maybe we won't get 6 games because the Boston Bruins keep on choking these games away. They got to show up when it matters most here, and it looks like JVR is going to be doing that again. This guy makes big time plays. Another overtime winner. He's the only reason they haven't got swept. And as we know, Game 5 is going to be a massive one in this series. Winnipeg's going to be picking up 6 goals, and Boston's now on the brink of elimination. But every time Boston's been down this series, they found a way to bounce back, and it looks like they're doing that right now. Of course, JVR, he's going to be picking up another goal here, but a massive collapse in the third period once again. The Winnipeg Jets are scoring back-to-back goals, and that one from Mark Scheifele with 4 minutes left in the game is going to be the winner, and the Winnipeg Jets are winning NHL playoff imperialism. So you're telling me, after losing Kyle Connor and Connor Hellebuyck, the Winnipeg Jets are going to win NHL playoff imperialism? They lost 2 of their best players and arguably the best goaltender in the league this season. I don't even know how that's possible, but shout out to the Winnipeg Jets. I think they did the impossible here. Losing Connor Hellebuyck and still finding a way to win, and then losing Kyle Connor to the Ottawa Senators and still finding ways to win after that. I mean, yeah, you did have Connor McDavid and he led the way down the stretch there, but even still, losing a guy like Connor Hellebuyck, that's huge. You did find a replacement in Thatcher Demko, but then you lost Kyle Connor after that, replaced him with Kopitar. All I have to say is the games you had to win, you won those games. The games that were optional for you to win, you lost all those. But hey, big time players make big time plays, and it looks like that's exactly what the Winnipeg Jets team did.